Greetings, sports fans. ASMR Sports, right back at you. Late night edition tonight. I was playing some tennis earlier, and then I noticed there was a Mavericks game on, which was very exciting to me because it was the first game with Kyrie Irving, which is kind of a big deal. I'll talk a little bit more about that later. If you're wondering why I'm whispering, this is an ASMR video. Look up ASMR and you will find information about what it is and why I'm whispering. But basically it's because people find that relaxing. And some people also are interested in baseball and basketball and football and hockey cards. And so we combine the two on this channel. And I hope you will enjoy it and perhaps allow yourself to relax as you enjoy some sports card content, instead of listening to people say, let's effing go, which is, cool too, but sometimes you're trying to maybe take it easy. Well, earlier today I got in an order that I had made of some vintage stuff that I was pretty excited to get. So I thought I'd show you guys that, and then I want to show you something that I've been actually wanting to make a video of for a while now, but just haven't gotten around to it. So let's do the show and tell first. So I got some cool graded packs. All of these are non-baseball, but within that, I think actually they're just hockey and basketball. That's what these packs are, and there's only 6 of them, so not a huge deal, but these are fun ones. This is 1987 Topps Hockey, graded PSA 8, and there's a Ray Bork card on the back, which is kind of fun. Can't really see anything, but the experts deem that to be a Ray Bork on the back. By the way, I'm guessing probably people are not familiar with sort of the process for getting a pack graded and then having a player identified as being on the front of the back. So I'll talk a little bit about that. Basically, if you want wax packs graded, you can also grade cello packs and like foil packs. You send them into PSA, and then PSA sends them off to Baseball Card Exchange to be authenticated as unopened. And I'm pretty sure BBCE also does the verification of players on the front or back of a pack. However, when you send a pack in, you have to identify a player being on the front or the back and request that the item be labeled with that player. So that's kind of how it goes. They will not identify a player being on the front or the back of the pack unless you request that and you sort of identify it in your submission form with the packs to be graded. So that's kind of, you have to request it, and then they basically verify it. I'm pretty sure that it's Baseball Card Exchange that verifies it. I might be wrong about that, but that would be my guess, because Baseball Card Exchange sort of does that for their own business too. They identify players on packs that are within boxes that they authenticate. Most often they do that with bigger ticket items like 86 Fleer basketball. They'll identify how many Jordans stickers are on the backs of packs in boxes of 86 Fleer basketball that they authenticate. So, and that all has nothing to do with PSA. That's just Baseball Card Exchange. So anyways, that's kind of how you get a label that has a player on the back or front. And there's people that collect packs with certain player. Like there's a guy that like collects Ryan Sandberg packs, you know, that show Ryan Sandberg cards on the front. And there's people collecting, you know, Mattingly and Boggs and everybody else, right? There's just a collector for everything, really. Next up, we have an 89 Topps hockey pack, which is not a very high dollar pack. It's probably like a, you know, $2 or $3 pack. But it's great PSA, and it's got Brian Leach rookie, and he's one of the top, maybe like 3 rookies in the product. So that's kind of fun. You know, another sort of theme people collect are packs that have like rookie cards showing on the front of the back. So those are kind of fun to grab when you can. Next up, we have an 88 OPG wax pack. So that's the year of what's his name? Brett Hull. His rookie year was in 88, and this is from that year. So these packs are a fair bit more expensive. The 88 stuff, you know, is a bit costly because of the Brett Hull possibility there. And this one has Steve Yzerman on the back, which is cool. And this one you can actually see something, which is, you know, I can see Red Wings listed there, right? So that one I find probably easy to tell if you have a Yzerman card to compare it to the other ones. I feel like it's impossible to see, you know, what the heck's in there, so I sort of consider it a black magic to like divine cards showing. This is a 1981 basketball wax pack. This stuff, you know, used to be pretty dang cheap, but at some point during the card boom of 2020 and 2021, the cards of Magic Johnson and Larry Bird, both of which are second-year cards, kind of blew up in value, especially in, you know, good, you know, high grades. So consequently, a box of this stuff are, you know, now several $1,000s. They used to be well under $1,000, and I had thought about picking one up at various points over the years, but never ended up doing it. Anyways, this one's kind of cool because it's PSA 8, and it has Kareem Abdul-Jabbar on the back, which is pretty cool. Pretty cool. Okay, last pack is a 1978 Topps basketball, which is pretty early pack, at least within my collection for basketball. I think, I don't know if I have I might have 177 pack somewhere, but other than that, all my packs are, you know, much later. For basketball, I'd love to have some earlier ones, but those are, you know, thousands of dollars. But this one has 2 stars. Hayes on the top and Johnny Dawkins on the back. Daryl Dawkins, sorry. And who is Hayes? I think it's Elgin Hayes is his name. And I don't know. I love these cards, actually. I recognize, you know, what they look like looking at this, what I can see through the back there. I have some singles from this set that I got like a million years ago, back before the first basketball Beckett ever came out, and I thought, boy, I should buy some basketball cards before that happens, because everything goes up when they make a Beckett for a new sport. So I was at a card show once, and this guy had some basketball cards, and I bought them all up for pretty cheap, and yeah, really cool. I really like to look at this set. It's very, I don't know, appealing to me. So I also got a handful of boxes here, and what's interesting about these is they are all wrapped by RVP, which is short for ripping vintage packs. RVP basically, kind of like the second most respected authenticator of stuff like this after Baseball Card Exchange. So their stuff is, less valuable than Baseball Card Exchange authenticated items. But in my view, the quality is just as good. And oftentimes you'll see these at, prices that are a bit cheaper than Baseball Card Exchange. So I think it's a good value, to get boxes wrapped by these guys. This is 1980 Topps football. So it's got that old school Topps logo. Phil Simms rookie cards are in here. 1980 is kind of a bad year for rookies. There's a couple of other decent names in there, but I don't think there's any Hall of Famers that have rookie cards in here. But as a 1980 product, it's got early Tony Dorsett's. It's got Walter Payton, Fouts, like all the guys that you recall from having rookies in the mid to late 70s are showing up in here. But of course, this is well before Montana. Well, okay, not well before. It was like the year before Montana, and a good bit before Marino and Elway and those kind of guys. So it's an interesting set. This has always been sort of a cheap box considering how old it is because of its lack of rookies. But I don't know. I feel like stuff like that is eventually tends to catch the attention of collectors just because it's so old. And this stuff always gets harder to find because people open them and try to get cards graded, and then it's harder to find the unopened stuff. So next box up is one of my favorites. This is also one of those I think notoriously cheap / underrated boxes of the 80s. 1983 Topps football. For the longest time, this stuff was really super cheap, like $40 a box, and still is the cheapest 1980s. Pre 87. It's the cheapest pre 87 football box, and it's way cheaper than 86 or 85 football, or certainly 84, and 82 and 81. So it's kind of like the cheapest one, of the first 2/3 of the 80s. But I've always loved it because it's got Marcus Allen rookies, and he was my favorite player when I was a kid. So I'm a big fan of this stuff. I also, I like it because it's cheap. That's very endearing to me. I love value. But, you've got a second-year card of Lawrence Taylor in here. You've got the guys I mentioned in the 80s, 1980 set are, largely in here. And I don't know, it's just a cool looking set. You can see the cards on the design on the box. And yeah, I don't know. I've always loved these, and I've always for a long time I wanted a box of this stuff and I didn't have it. Same with 85 Topps football. That was another one I was just always wanting to have, but I never, for whatever reason, ended up getting any, and now I've started to pick up a bunch of both. So I think I have 3 or 4 85 Topps football boxes, and of this stuff I think I have maybe 3 or 4 of those too. So I'm starting to amass. Next up is a pretty expensive box. I think this was $1,000 or close to it. It's in really nice shape. It's probably the best condition box of all of these that I ordered. So this, oh man, I forget even what year this is. I don't know why. There we go. This is 81 Topps hockey, hockey boxes I'm the least familiar with. I mean, I'm pretty familiar with the sort of 86, 87, 88, 89 boxes, because those are way cheaper. Well, 86 is not cheap, but whatever, I've seen a lot of them. And the 81, 82, 83, 84 boxes I've seen way less of, and I'm just less familiar with them because they're, more expensive. But this one is not like terribly expensive. I mean, for a 1981 box of a non-baseball product, I don't know, $100,000 is not insane. Like 81 Topps Football, which has the Montana rookie in it, those are like, I think they're like 1,500 at least. But anyways, this one is in super nice condition, which is awesome. And it's a hockey box I don't have, and I'm actually trying to get like a full run of hockey boxes from like 1980 forward. So I have 84, I have 87, 88, 89, 90. 86 is very expensive, just because for some reason it's very rare, and there's not like anything crazy good in it. It's just very rare, very uncommon to see those boxes, so their prices tend to be quite high. 86 or 85 is a problem because that's got Mario Lemieux rookie cards in it, so it's like, ridiculously expensive. So I'm not sure I'm ever going to have one of those, but everything else is somewhat reasonable. The 83s, 82s are, reasonable. They're a little bit higher than, I think, these 81s, but, they're not like $2,000, $3,000 like the 86 and the 85 ones. I feel like 85s are like $4,000 or $3,000, somewhere in between. Anyways, really pleased with that box. The other boxes are kind of a little bit beat up, quite frankly, but that one's super nice. This is a fun one that I've had my eye on, a 87 WWF box for a long time, and these used to be dirt cheap. Nobody collected wrestling cards, nobody cared about them, but one of the things that blew up in the sports card boom of 2020 was stuff like this. Kind of previously underappreciated, but pretty hard to find items that feature iconic, entertainers like Hulk Hogan and all the other great wrestlers you can get in there. This one's a little bit beat up, unfortunately, but I got a real good price on it. And what is interesting about this box is that it is from a sealed case. So that's pretty rare. Not a lot of cases of this stuff floating around to be opened up and, authenticated as from a sealed case. But this is from a sealed case. It's from a final sale sealed case, and what that means, that's also why this box has a blackout. I call it an X out, even though it's not an X on this. But these X out boxes come from cases of cards that were returned to the manufacturer from retail outlets that had purchased them, but did not end up selling them. So basically, what would happen is, let's say they go to, we'll say Walmart. Well, let's say Ben Franklin. You guys know Ben Franklin. There are these like craft and like sort of like miscellaneous stuff stores that had a lot of candy and sports cards, and we had one where I live in Fargo, North Dakota, and they had lots of sports cards that I used to go, buy all the time when I was a kid or look at. And anyways, let's say the Ben Franklin got like 5 cases of this stuff, and they only ended up selling one case worth of boxes. Well, they could send the remaining cases back to Topps to get basically their money back. But at some point, I can't remember if I've read about this, and it's either the retailer would open the cases and mark the boxes, or the Tops would do that. I kind of think it's Tops. They would do that because it's always done with this, like, big fat, like, sort of paint marker. And I doubt that all of them, the retailers, would have been, using the same marker, or the Tops would have sent them the marker to use. Maybe they did, though. But anyways, at some point in the process, they get marked as, having been returned, because they weren't sold, and then Tops would sell them, to other parties, presumably at a liquidated price, once they got them back. So that's kind of how you see why you see all these boxes with these black marks on them, because they were part of the, kind of Tops, like, guaranteed sale program where retailers could send back unsold items, which you also saw that with, like, books, and that's why books have the covers ripped off sometimes, because those books were not sold by the retailers, so the retailers could rip off the cover, send them back to the publisher, and then they would get credit for those. And then the publishers were presumably gonna then destroy the books, but sometimes they'd end up in the aftermarket, and the publishers did not like that, so they did some advertising back in the day saying, if you find a book without a cover on it, it's you're not supposed to have it. So I don't know what they said to do, like feel guilty or something, I don't know. Anyways, this is a cool box. This stuff is got a lot more popular in the last, we'll say, 3-4 years. And I think actually what I might do is open this guy up and like sell the packs, because they're really fun to open. It's a pretty small set, so you get, and there's quite a few different cards of Hulk Hogan in there, as well as Andre the Giant and like Honky Tonk Man and Ted DiBiase and all the awesome dudes from Edie's WWF. Okay, so I want to show you guys something over here. This is a case of 1989 Score Rookie and Traded that I picked up from a dealer at a card show that I was at, like back in 20, I don't know what that was, 18, 19. And it had 60 sets in it, when it was new, but I want to show you inside, and I'm going to probably have to like stop talking because, well, let's see, I think my mic will go up. Okay, this is very new territory we're breaking here. Alright, I've moved my, so yeah, this old sticker identifies a card shop that this was shipped to back in 1989. That is Crookston, Minnesota, and it definitely doesn't exist. I've been to Crookston before, and there's no card shops there. But I was looking in this box, and I realized I actually had some stuff in here from when I did that show. So that was kind of a fun surprise. I had no idea there was actually boxes besides this in there, but I took them out just because they were kind of heavy. The other boxes were 2019 Tops Update, which is a so-so set. It's got flagship rookies of Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Sorry for the low light. This is kind of in a area that's not hit by light. So you see all these nice sets in here. And this is about maybe a third of the case. I think there was like 3 layers here, and I've got one complete layer and then like 3 boxes. So I'm just going to take one here. was kind of fun that I had these boxes that I totally had forgotten about. These are 2018 Bowman, and they're actually pretty nice boxes because they have autographed rookie cards of Shohei Ohtani potentially in them. So that's fun. And they're actually, they're hard sign, or they're not redemptions. So you can get some pretty nice cards out of here. This stuff, kind of spiked in value. This last season when Ohtani was doing just insane things and, really in the running for MVP, which he ended up losing to Aaron Judge because the guy made, set the AL record for home runs, which is no small feat. So anyways, pretty fun to find these. I actually have a case of jumbo boxes of that stuff that I bought, I don't know, sometime in maybe 2020, maybe I bought. And they've gone up a bit even now with the depressed prices. They were up like big time in the, in the boom era, like 2021. But they're still up over what I bought them for, so I got a good deal on. Anyways, enough about that. The point of showing you that case is primarily I've been wanting to go. I've not looked at these sets at all since the day I bought them, and I've been kind of wanting to, go through them. I think these sets, if these were like, sealed, which the only way to make that happen would be to send a sealed case of these to Baseball Card Exchange, and then they would wrap all the boxes inside. But once the case is broken, they won't do that because these are not sealed in any way. So they can't verify that they haven't been opened and had cards removed or swapped out or whatever, right? So there's no way to have these wrapped at this point. But as far as I can tell, they are factory fresh, very very clean condition, and we're gonna look inside and see what's in here. But yeah, if this were wrapped, I think it would be like a $60 or $70 box. But unwrapped, it's kind of like you can't really like buy these on eBay because they're not sealed, so you have no idea what the person has done. So I don't know. I might put these up for sale, for fairly cheap, if people had an interest. And if you trust me as a seller, then or you trust what you see, I guess, when we open this thing up. And again, yeah, like these are pretty tight, so I feel like I could tell this had been cracked into. Jesus. So yeah, anyways, I think these boxes are all, pretty factory fresh, and I don't know, present kind of an interesting little product to check out. So the key card in here is a Ken Griffey Jr. rookie card. And the question is going to be like, what kind of condition are we going to get out of these things? I can get the effing cards out. Come on. Oh, look at that. What am I doing? Hadn't even fully opened it. Okay. So yeah, I don't know, this seal seems very everything's very kind of tight and well packed, so I feel like these are legit. But let's find out. I don't know where the Ken Griffey is within this stack, and I'm sure these are all numbered. Yeah, so like the top is, card number 1. You get these little sport flick trivia things. Alright, so Rafael Palmeiro, a would-be Hall of Famer. And of course, the top card is often got some damage just because it's exposed more than other cards. And oh, nice, Nolan Ryan is in this set, I guess, because he traded, changed teams from the Astros to the Rangers. Jack Clark, Dave LaPointe, Mike Moore, Pete O'Brien, Jeffrey Leonard, Rob Murphy, Tommy Herr, Claudel Washington, Mike Pagliaro was a former Yankee, Steve Lake, Spike Owen. I think the corners and stuff are pretty good on all these, but the big question is centering. A PSA 10 Griffey from this set is pretty valuable. I think it's like a couple hundred at least. But with all these 80s stuff, especially when it's these cards are just in a box. As opposed to like packs within a box where they're a little more protected. So they can get banged around, but the big challenge with 80s cards is really the centering. And sometimes the edges can be kind of rough as well. Mark Langston. There's kind of like a printing defect right there. Malboni. Lindar. I feel like there's a lot of Phillies in this set. You guys notice that? Keith Moreland. Here's a Hall of Famer, Eddie Murray. And that's pretty nice centering. I would love to get the Griffey Jr. looking like that. Mitch the Wild Thing Williams. Chip Barrett. Wally Backman coming over from the Mets, I believe. Yeah. Julio Franco. Is he with the Indians before this? Let's see. Yes, he was. Lance Parrish coming over to the Angels from the Tigers. Oh, I guess the Phillies before that. Nick Saski with the Red Sox. Who was he with? The Reds. Yeah. Luis Polonia coming over from the A's. Kevin Gross. John Dobson. Willie Randolph coming over from the Yankees, I believe. Yeah. Yep. I knew he was a long-time Yankee. I couldn't remember if he had been with somebody before this. Other than the Yankees before the Dodgers stint, but no, that was his first team after the Yankees. Tracy Jones, Phil Bradley, Milt Thompson, Chris James. I'm starting out, okay. We got a whole stack from man, what if the Griffey is missing? Like it's been pulled from all these boxes. Hall of Famer Ricky Henderson with the A's after he was with the A's originally, and then he went to the Yankees, and then in '89 he went back to the A's, and won some World Series with them. So we got some cool Hall of Famers in here. Oh sure. All right, Dickie's on. Danny, we're running into some centering issues, so I don't like that. Let's clean it up. Let's clean it up. Score. Randy Reddy. Bob Melvin, Hall of Famer Harold Baines. Jody Davis. Darrell Evans. Joel Youngblood. Frankie V. Aldretti, formerly with the Giants. Correct. Greg Cadaret. John Kruk. With the Phillies. Forget who did he start with? Padres. Yeah, but he played much longer with the Phillies. He's kind of known as a Philly. Oda B. McDowell was with the Rangers. Tom Brookins, the Tigers. Bob Boone, with a few different teams. Yeah, so that's the dad of Aaron Boone, who now is the manager of the Yankees. Of course, also the dad of Brett Boone. Walt Terrell. Joel Skinner. Look at that. Rookie rookie cards in this set, which is pretty neat. Of course, he's in this set not because he's a rookie, but because he was with the Expos originally, and then got traded to the Mariners. So his regular issue rookie cards from '89 show him in an Expos uniform. I did not know Randy Johnson was in the set, but it makes a lot of sense because he was, traded in that year. This is the rookie and traded set. Junior Felix, he was a pretty hot commodity back in the '89 hobby. Here's Joe Girardi, famed Yankee manager and Yankee catcher. This was, he's in here because he's a rookie. So, Jerome Walton, he's the guy I always think of when I think of '89 baseball, and I've mentioned this many times whenever it's come up. This guy was absolute burning lava hot in '89. His stuff was so freaking desirable, and everybody wanted this guy's rookie cards, and he did absolute jack in the bigs. But yeah, he and Dwight Smith were like this, sort of dream rookie team for the Cubs, and at a time when rookie cards were the absolute hottest thing on earth. These were the two huge rookies. I think he must have had a breakout kind of month or two, right, in '89, and that's kind of what drove a lot of interest in him. But yeah, ultimately did not do a whole lot, at least that I'm aware of, in the bigs. Jim Abbott rookie card, he had an '88 Topps traded USA card, but other than that, I think his rookies were in '89. He had an '89 draft pick card in '89 Topps, and that was back when, and he came I think directly into the bigs from being drafted, yeah, because he played college ball. Boy, that's so rare, isn't it? That just doesn't happen at all, ever, anymore. A guy to get drafted and come directly in the major, no major league team would ever allow that to happen. Now, you do see that, of course, in basketball, and it's extremely common in football, right? But baseball, you used to see it once in a while. It was still pretty rare, even at this time and before. I imagine, the further you go back, the more it might have been happening, just because, I don't know, I feel like now the difference between, college ball and Major League Baseball is as big of a difference as it's ever been. But back in the, 50s, 60s, maybe it wasn't as big. But now, it's just assumed even the best of the best of the best are going to spend a little time, at least in the minors, and most often they're just going to spend 2 to 3 years there. With the length, depending on just how good they are. Coming into the professional baseball world, Bob Guerin, Clay Parker, look at all these Yankee rookies. Steve Finley, Greg Olson, Ken Patterson, Ken Hill, Scott Scudder, and there is our extremely off-center, unfortunately. Dang, we got skunked. But still a cool card that I'm glad to have. So, that was fun. Carlos Martinez, Joe Oliver, Joey Bell, was later known as Albert Bell, and I think he's kind of, sort of quasi considered to be Hall of Fame worthy by some people. I think he was on the ballot for quite a few years and got some votes, but ultimately did not make it. Ken Rogers was a pretty dominant pitcher for a band of years in the 90s. Orlando Rooms, he was a Cub. I thought, yeah, came up with the Cubs. So, like back in 88, he was kind of hot stuff for a minute. I think being on the Cubs back in like the 80s, even though they, were still in their serious home run or World Series drought, they had a big fan following. So the, like as far as a market for, baseball stars and hobby stars, they were pretty good. These days, not so much. I think the Cubs, are not that great of a place for a prospect to be for hobby attention, whatever that's worth. So we're going to get the card shells out because these cards are probably, among the more difficult to sleeve because they're, matte finish. They have rough kind of edges. And so it's kind of hard to slip them into a regular card holder, but the card shells, they just glide on into, no problem. No banged up corners on these guys, no siree. I still haven't checked to see if I have the card shells listed for sale on my site, but I'll try to remember to do that. If you want to harass me in comments, please do. I'd love to have some help remembering. But yeah, I really do want to get these up there because I really like them, and I want to try to offer a price that's going to be, hopefully better than anywhere else I might find. Okay, well, that's the video for today. I think that actually took a little bit longer than I was expecting, so this is going to get posted. Yeah, really, it's already, it's not Thursday night when I started. It's Friday morning. But hope you're doing well. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Please give a like and subscribe. And do check out my other channels if you're interested in sports cards generally. Check out my channel, The Sports Card Show, if you're interested in ASMR content other than sports-related stuff. Check out my channel, Randomly Relaxing, which both are linked in the description.